Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Charlotte Day. Welcome to this live webinar that is being organised as part of the Unlocking the Potential of Being a SEND Employer powered by SpringPod. Whether you've been with us for a while or you're just getting started with the programme, we do hope you are enjoying it. Don't forget, if you have any questions or you need support from a member of our team, you can reach us using the green chat icon at the bottom right corner of the platform. We are here to help, so please don't hesitate. Before we begin, it's useful to know that this talk should last about 90 minutes. Don't forget to use the Q&A function to ask questions to your guests today. They'd love to answer them and they are here to help, so definitely make the most of this time. When you're sending questions, please make sure you add who the question is for. This is important, particularly for this webinar. Due to the number of questions that usually come through, though, we may not be able to answer every single one. So please use the upvote function if you spotted a question that you also wanted to ask. It's the little thumbs up underneath each question, with the most popular ones rising to the top of the list. Those will be the ones that we ask. If you miss this webinar or you need to leave halfway through for whatever reason, do not worry, as this is being recorded and we always aim to have the recording available within 24 hours. So effectively, you can come back and watch it on demand. In today's webinar, we are going to be talking about the creative arts industry. And joining us to do that is Andrew Cox from London and South East Colleges, Louise Wolsey, also from London and South East Colleges, Teresa Carroll from the Educational and Training Foundation. We also have Becky Allen from the Half Moon Theatre, as well as Ella Becker, Unicorn Theatre. And last but certainly not least, we've got Rhonda Sapsford from the London and South East Colleges as well. So we have a packed webinar today filled with so much expertise, so I'm sure it's going to be very helpful. Now, it's a pleasure to have you all here today. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedules to be here. We have a presentation, so Louise, over to you when you are ready.
Thank you, Charlotte. So good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for taking the time to join us. As Charlotte has introduced, there's a number of us from London South East Colleges here today, and we are delighted to be able to share our views on this very important topic of unlocking the potential of learners with SEND and the opportunity of them progressing into the creative industries. Just to give a little bit of context to who we are as a college in the first instance, we are a large college operating across the southeast region of London, and we were formed in 2016 following a merger with two other colleges in two other London boroughs. And across our 7 campuses, we support approximately 260 learners with SEND every year through our specialist provision Need of a Land Centre, which Rona will talk about later, and with an additional 400 learners with EHCP supported through a mainstream education. And we are delighted and very proud to say that our support for learners with high needs was rated outstanding by Ofsted in 2019. And equally, our CEO, Dr. Sam Perret, is an advisor to the Disabled Students Commission and champions on our behalf the needs of learners progressing into employment at the end of their studies. Interestingly, we also have as part of an education group, we have a multi-academy trust, which has both mainstream and special provision within our schools. And since 2018, we have really focused our ambitions as both a college and as a trust to really support all learners into their next steps careers as part of our social enterprise mission. And we were delighted to be awarded by the Education and Training Foundation the SEND Centre of Excellence spoke status in September last year to enable us to run these events, the first one being today, to focus on the provision and progression of learners with SEND into sport and leisure and to the creative arts industry. So in simple terms, this is who we are and where we're based. We're quite a large organisation now with over 1,300 staff, 12,000 learners and many campuses across that provision. And making sure that young people and children and adults with special education needs are well supported in all of our provision is central to our ethos and our ambition. So why are we here today? We're here because actually, when you look at the progression of young adults into the employment market, young adults with special educational needs and disabilities, the picture is really not as it should be. You know, currently the disabled employment rate, as you can see on my slide here, is 52.3%, and the unemployment rate is 8.4% compared to a national rate of 3.9, almost double or more than double, which is clearly not acceptable. And as we know, if you're economically inactive, that has an impact on your overall lifestyle in terms of the affordability of any services and housing, anything that you might wish to do. And so disabled people are disproportionately affected by that not being part of the economy and contributing through employment. And just even worse, if it's possible, the employment rate of adults with more complex special educational needs is only 5.6% nationally, whereas the national employment rate for adults without a disability or with complex learning needs is 75.6. And this is why this seminar today is really important and why we are passionate about working with employers to improve this picture. Interestingly, what the perceptions of disabled people in employment can often find that employers can typically view people with a disability less favourably than able-bodied, even though that is a protected characteristic which employers all have a legal responsibility to ensure diversity and inclusion in their workplace. 24% of UK employers said they would be less likely to hire someone with a disability, and 60% of those less likely to hire a disabled person were concerned they would not be able to do the job. Clearly, through these events today, we hope to dispel some of the misconceptions of hiring people with disabilities, and you'll hear firsthand from people with this experience working in creative industries later today. So how can we reverse this? We know from an industry and sector experience, employers benefit from hiring people with special educational needs. Colleges, like ourselves, can help SEND learners be better prepared for work and improve their confidence and interview skills. We can support employers too through advice and guidance on how to help young people and adults with special educational needs access employment and progress and succeed. And through this work that we and other colleges have done nationally, we effectively have a blueprint to support young people and adults with SEND progressing into employment with employers across the country. For example, and Rona will talk about this later, our supported internship program supports 50% of learners to progress into employment in 2019 against a London average of just 6%. So why is this important? It's important because it's the right thing to do. It's important because we can improve the well-being of people with disabilities. Everyone deserves to reach their potential. We have a record number of job vacancies in the country at the moment and a huge skills demand. And as you will hear later in our event today, many employer partners have really benefited from hiring SEND learners. So what we would like to achieve through this event and through the series of activities that we can share with you today is that we would like to see 10 businesses to develop formal partnerships with special educational needs departments in colleges across the country. We really want to capture your pledges to provide assisted work experience, opportunities and work placements, new internships, employer talks and enrichment to add value to the curriculum delivery, and new employment opportunities that create opportunities for SEND learners to progress into employment. We also, through this process, want to help more businesses understand the benefits of hiring young people with disabilities and support more SEND learners to directly progress into employment once they leave education. And finally, but not least, to address that national picture, we want to develop an effective model for SEND employment across the UK. Thank you very much. I'm handing back to Charlotte now.
Thank you very much, Louise. That was wonderful. We are now extremely delighted because we have a message here today from Daniel Laurie, who is an esteemed actor from the very well known and very loved BBC One series called The Midwife.
Thank you for inviting me to speak to you today. It is an honour. I am Daniel Laurie. I'm an actor. I play Reggie, a regular character in the BBC TV show called The Midwife. I'm going to talk to you about my great passion acting and how this hobby became a job. Well, for me, it all began when I was really badly bullied at school. So then my mother sent me to a local drama group to make friends and have fun. And it was there I developed my acting skills. I got practice doing lots of different plays. That was my training. I also helped out backstage doing sound and lighting and the publicity for the shows, as well as tickets and going behind the bar during the interval. There are so many wonderful and different jobs you can do in the theatre. I've had many acting jobs, but the most important story I've ever had to tell was for called The Midwife. It began with the awful sadness of Reggie's mother dying, and the terrible bullies and the horrifying and truly dreadful mental asylum. Can you imagine what it must have been like for people like me and Reggie in the olden days being locked up, never riding my bike or having my dog or meet my friends in the pub? Fortunately, the story has a happy ending when Fred and Violet take Reggie in and become his family. I should tell you, we have so much fun working together. In between takes, we tell jokes, sing funny songs, and do silly dances. The filming day is long. We often get to work at 6 a.m. and may not get home till 10 p.m. When a scene happens at night time, we work through the night under cover of darkness until 4 a.m. I filmed this last Christmas Day episode working through the night, dressed in pyjamas, being shot at by a snow cannon, which is also fun. Being on set is brilliant. It is a bit like being in the center of your own very own universe, or being a giant baby actually, because everything is done for you. You get picked up in the mornings, cups of tea is made for you, food is brought to you, you're told what clothes to wear, and your hair is done for you too. You are told what to say and where to stand. And everyone is so always pleased to see you, and they laugh at all your jokes, even the ones that aren't funny. I love being an actor. They say all you have to do is speak up and don't bump into the furniture. But really the most of the hard work comes before the audition or before a day's filming. Preparation is vital. Preparation is everything. I also work as an assistant drama teacher at the Putney Arts Theatre Kids Club on Saturdays, and I really love it. I love the kids. I always look forward to Saturdays, which I really do. I am also an FA qualified football coach. I'm a very keen footballer. I help out at the after school football club at my old primary school. I have 3 jobs and I love them all equally. You may have noticed I have Down syndrome. I have had to work hard to learn my lines, make my speech clearer, and making my body physically stronger for the occasion. But when I'm acting, I am appreciated. When I'm acting, I'm the same as everyone else, and I get paid to do the job I love, which is true. As you go out to work, please don't worry if the training for the job needs practice and learning, That's normal for everyone. And if you need help, please ask your boss. Let yourself shine, smile, and be patient. And you too will find your work family. We all belong somewhere, as we know. I wish you all as much luck as I have had. As my grandfather used to say, just keep on keeping on. Just be yourself, follow your heart, and don't worry what anyone else thinks and says. Just look at me. Know that you and all of you can do it too. Here is a very short film of some of my scenes. Let's play it.
Time is on!
That was fantastic. It makes me want to rewatch all of Call the Midwife over again. Thank you so much, Daniel, for sending that special message through for us. We're now going to continue with the presentation, and I am now handing it over to Teresa Carroll from the Educational and Training Foundation. Teresa, when you're ready, please begin.
There we are. So I'm Teresa Carroll. I'm from the Education and Training Foundation, and we're delighted to commission this event today where you can hear directly from employers and our young people about the benefits of having a diverse workforce. So if I tell you just a little bit about us. So the Education and Training Foundation offers professional development for everybody that works in further education. So there's that space between the school system and the university. If you're delivering education and training, we're there for you. And we have training on absolutely every subject you can think of for absolutely every job role that you can think of. We also have a professional body called the Society for Education and Training that people can come together and share practice. So at the Education and Training Foundation, I look after our support around special educational needs and disability. And we have a dedicated website with materials that have been developed with professionals working with young people. And all the resources sit on this particular site. And there's only resources there that we've developed with the sector or the sector have told us are useful to them. So do go and check that out because it's all free and it's all there for you. So as part of our professional development offer for SEND, we launched our flagship offer just under 3 years ago, and this is our 3 national centres for excellence in SEND, whereby we have 3 colleges that have been designated outstanding for supporting learners with special educational needs. And those 3 centres have free leadership support to leaders in the sector who want to start thinking about and developing a more inclusive teaching and learning practice across their organisation. Within the centres as well, there's also communities of practice for managers and practitioners to come together to share effective practice, to problem solve, and gradually try to make our sector much more inclusive. So, and then finally, over the last 12 months, we've supplemented our 3 centres with what we call our 8 employer spokes. And these are 8 organisations that have really strong relationships with employers from all sorts of sectors. And they are delivering on our behalf employer-led events to encourage more employers to think about employing our learners. And you can see a list there of all the sectors that we've got covered. And we're delighted that London South East College are doing this work around the creative arts today. We have lots of other events going on. Again, they're all free. And our hope is that there won't be an employer in the country that would be able to say, you know what, this isn't for me, that they will be watching this, you'll be watching this and thinking, you know what, I can do that too. Because ultimately, we want all our young people to gain meaningful employment and everybody to maximise their potential. Thank you very much for listening, and do get in touch. Over to you, Charlotte.
Thank you so much, Teresa. That was fantastic. We are now going to hear from Becky Allen, and Becky is from the Half Moon Theatre. So, Becky, when you're ready, please begin your presentation.
Hello everyone, my name's Becky. I am the Head of Creative Learning at Half Moon Theatre, and this is Vivian Nalagambe, who is one of our front of house assistants. Do you want to say hi, Viv?
Yes, hi guys, and I love my job so much. The best job in the whole world.
I didn't even ask her to say that. So, moving on to our slides. So that is our building. We are a specialist theatre just for children and young people, and we serve the communities of Tower Hamlets, and we also tour our performance work nationally. So that is our building in Limehouse in Tower Hamlets. We celebrated our 50th birthday this year. So our parent company started in 1972, making quite political fringe theatre. And we went on to have a lot of education work and outreach work as part of that theatre. And we set ourselves up as a specialist young people's theatre 32 years ago now. So we have our activity includes a season of professional plays that happen here in the building for local families to come and enjoy together. Then we tour productions nationally, and then we have a really extensive creative learning programme, and that includes youth theatres and work in schools and community settings. We're a small team. We are normally just 7 core members of staff. We are 8 when we have a paid internship for a young person, and then we currently have 2 people with us on the Kickstart placement, and then we have 2 front of house assistants, Viv and Juanita, who are with us through a paid placement scheme through one of our local providers. But we are a small team, but we produce a lot of work. So that is a snapshot of the kind of thing that we did over the last year, and that's pretty standard, although maybe a lot of the online stuff was just because we were in a lockdown period. So we are committed to work-based learning placements as part of our commitment to the arts industry. We believe that it's really important that we open up our setting to provide work-based learning placements for anybody who is looking to gain experience in the industry. Either it could be experience that then helps them move on to other training, another sector, or because they are specifically interested in the arts sector and want to move forward in that. So we're committed to providing work-based learning placements for young adults who attend our partner universities in London, and from specialist training providers who are working with learning disabled adults. So for us, these work-based learning placements for learning disabled adults are really beneficial, and they work really well because we work with specialist training providers to prepare young adults to come to us before they start working with us. So we work with 2 companies on that. One is the Tower Project, and then Job, Enterprise and Training Service. And you think they're amazing, Viv, yeah?
I mean, 10 stars, 20 stars, 30 stars.
30 stars for Tower Project?
100 stars, 100 stars.
Okay, right, great. I'll make sure they know as well, Viv. Tower Project is East London's leading provider of specialist supported employment services for people with learning disabilities and autism. And we're very lucky to have them. One of their centres is right next door to us, so they are our closest neighbours. And then the Job Enterprise and Training Service is just a little bit up the road. So it's really nice to work with a really local provider. And we also work with Access All Areas Theatre Company. They're a specialist theatre company supporting the artistic development of some of the world's leading learning disabled creatives. So often young learning disabled adults will be working with Access All Areas on a specialist course, and then will come to us on a placement to gain their work experience as part of the training they're doing with Access All Areas. So,
me.
That is you, mate. So only one of our front of house assistants has joined us today, but on the left you'll see Viv, and then we also have Juanita. So for us, what we get from working with learning disabled members of staff is we believe that our workforce now is more diverse and representative. Like I say, we're only a small team, so having additional members of staff is incredibly helpful to help us deliver our work. And this commitment that we make to working with people like Viv is that we continue to deliver on our inclusive commitments. We are a specialist young people's theatre, and we have an inclusive policy in all our programmes. Children and young people with disabilities are part of everything that we do, and we need to carry that on in our workforce development as well. So
That's me again.
that's another photo of Viv that we took for social media for World Book Day. And I've put some words into Viv's mouth here to say what Viv gets by being part of our team at Half Moon. And what did we say? We say that you gain some valuable work experience. You've had the chance to develop new skills.
I have.
Yeah. And you've had the opportunity to consider new career paths that you might not have thought of otherwise. Yeah.
And give me that extra push, thank you.
Yeah. So
The man called Midwife. The man called Midwife.
yeah.
He's been that extra push as well.
Oh, okay. So Viv and I have talked about this in advance before. Viv's speech is sometimes difficult for people to understand, especially over a virtual platform like this. So just to repeat what Viv said, she said that working at Half Moon gives her the extra push that she needs, and she feels that watching the video from the actor from Call the Midwife has also given her that extra push that she needs by seeing somebody seeing somebody with Down syndrome who's in the public who's in the public eye and doing what they really want to do.
I thought I couldn't do that, but you've helped me.
Oh. Yeah. So she's saying that, Viv's saying that it's hard to have the confidence to do things like that, but that working here has given her that confidence.
And there's high levels when I go. You put me on a pedestal, but I watch the stars.
Okay. Yeah. So she wants to go much further. You know, she's happy. She's grateful for what we've done to help her get on her first rung of the ladder. But she's got places she wants to go, and the sky is the limit. Yeah. Good. No worries, Viv. So I was going to ask you 2 questions. Do you remember what they were?
No.
The first. It's a good job we practiced yesterday. The first one was, what are your favourite things about your job?
Everything.
Everything.
Apart from there's one job that I like.
What's that?
Turn up the carts.
But you've all... So Viv doesn't like tidying up the art cart,
Sorry.
which is in our foyer.
Sorry about that.
I know, but what have you learned as part of work? That you have to do some things you don't enjoy.
It's true.
We all do that.
It's true.
Yeah.
Life is.
But what are the other things you love about your job? You told me yesterday.
Shredding.
You do love shredding.
I love shredding because I find it very therapeutic.
It is very therapeutic, isn't it, shredding?
You know the team?
Yeah.
You know what I think of the team? You know why?
Why?
I can imagine someone washing his head.
Oh my goodness, she likes guillotining because it's imagining chopping off somebody's head. Viv.
But washing his head.
Okay, all right. So there was something else you said you really liked about your job yesterday. Do you remember?
Meeting people, meeting the kids.
Yeah, you really like.
The kids love me.
Even if you do say so yourself. So yeah, Viv obviously gets to greet our young people when they come into the building, and you really enjoy that. Yeah, and she just told me that the kids really love her, so that's great. And then, why do you think it's important that other people employ young adults with neurodisabilities?
Because they need to get out there and people like you, but other people, like people who hire people, should give people a chance, because a long time ago, people just think people could sorry.
It's all right. It's nerve-wracking.
It's very nerve-wracking. And people with disabilities just think people couldn't do the job, but they can.
Yeah.
People with disabilities.
Okay, let's pause. So, because otherwise I'll have to remember too much stuff. So, Viv said that it's really important to give people a chance. And, you know, it used to be that people thought that people with disabilities couldn't do certain things, and they need to know that they can.
They can. And then the sky, I think the sky's the limit.
Yeah. And she believes the sky is the limit, which is excellent. I think that's a lovely place for us to end on.
I do.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
I love that.
Back to Charlotte. Sorry, forgot that.
That's all right. Thank you so much to both of you. Thank you, Viv, for giving us an insight into your world, and for reminding us that for everyone the sky is the limit. So it was a pleasure hearing from both of you. Thank you so much. We are now moving on to the Unicorn Theatre, and for this we're going to be hearing from Ella Becker. So Ella, when you're ready, over to you for the presentation.
Hello!
I'm Henry.
I'm Ella. I'm the front of house manager at the Unicorn Theatre.
And I'm Henry, the member of the front of house team usher here at the Unicorn Theatre.
And we are going to tell you about a scheme we run at the Unicorn Theatre called the Usher Plus scheme, which has been running for 10 years. But before we tell you about the Usher Plus scheme, we are just going to tell you a little bit about the Unicorn Theatre and the front of house team. So the Unicorn Theatre, we've been operating as a theatre company since 1947, but we've been based out of our purpose-built building in London Bridge since 2005. In this building, we have a 300-seater auditorium, a black box studio that usually seats about 90 people, and a smaller studio, which we're in right now, that can seat about 20 people. And we do performances for school groups and family groups throughout the year. Henry, what would you say the front of house team does at the Unicorn Theatre?
Well, the front of house, thank you. The front of house team is like the heart of the company. We're here basically for the audience, for the general public. The first people that they will see is us, aka the ushers.
That's right. So the first people that audience will see when they come to the building is the front of house team. We have a team of about 30 casual ushers and 5 performance managers. And this is the team that's responsible for making the audience feel welcome and comfortable at the theater. So things that the front of house team might do are scan tickets when audience arrive, help audience find their seats, answer any questions that audience members might have, that sort of thing. And maybe most importantly, the front of house team is there to look after the safety of audiences. So if there's ever an emergency or an evacuation, like we heard earlier, the front of house team would be responsible for making sure the audience is cared for properly in that situation. Now, on the front of house team, we have a scheme called the Usher Plus scheme, which, as I said, has been going for 10 years.
Oh my God.
And the Usher Plus scheme is a scheme we run where ushers with additional needs have a buddy on shift who we call an Usher Plus assistant, who is there on hand to support them through the shift. And we are going to tell you about that scheme. But the best person to tell you about that scheme is Henry here, who is actually the first ever usher to serve on the Usher Plus scheme. So Henry, can you tell us a little bit about what it was like when you first started at the Unicorn?
Will do. Believe it or not, when I first started here, I was shy, too shy to look at people, and I was like too shy to look at people, really quiet, but not now.
Not anymore. And when you first started here, you came with a support worker, is that right?
That is absolutely spot on. I came with my support worker was from Toucan Employment, which is, I think it's in one, I can't remember where it is, but it's Toucan Employment.
So Henry came to work at the Unicorn with a support worker, and why was the support worker helpful?
She's there for she's there just in case I need some reassurance. Like if I wasn't sure what to do, I can always ask her.
Yeah, exactly. So she was there for some reassurance, and our manager at the time on the front of house team thought, well, this is great that Henry has this reassurance, but the support worker doesn't actually work at the Unicorn and know what it means to be an usher and know the building. And we have a great team of ushers who could probably provide a similar type of reassurance, but they know what it means to be an usher and they know what it means to work in this building. So the manager decided to bring that role of the support worker in-house and offer it in the form of an Usher Plus assistant. So the Usher Plus scheme was born. And Henry, can you talk about what happened at the beginning of a shift with your Usher Plus assistant?
Yeah, sure. Basically we have like a so-called briefing, and then we check in 30 minutes before a shift, and they say what we talk about the shift, what's going to happen on the shift, if there's any what you're worried about, and just made you feel really comfortable and basically get your mind in the zone and yeah.
Absolutely. So like Henry's saying, the Usher Plus assistant and the usher they were supporting would meet before shift, have a check-in, see how each other are feeling, talk about the day's responsibilities, and if there's anything else that the usher was worried about. And why was this helpful for you, Henry?
Basically, I was worried about I might get like really flustered, and they wanted me to basically want some reassurance, like saying if I was doing it correctly, and then I was worried about I might do the wrong things.
Mm-hmm. And so it was helpful to have that time with the Usher Plus assistant to just reassure you that it was going to be okay.
Definitely.
And so then, Henry, what would happen on shift with your Usher Plus assistant?
Basically, we get assigned positions. I used to be on Rear Stalls North, and then we used to I used to talk through.
So Rear Stalls North is a position that one usher might be in on shift, and that's inside the theater, an usher who's helping the audience find their seats, who is monitoring the audience during the show to make sure that what, Henry?
There's no food, phones, or photos.
That's right. And in the event of an evacuation, they would block a set of doors and show the audience the right way to leave the theater. So when you were working in that position, how would the Usher Plus assistant help you out?
Basically, before the show started, we used to go through a fire evac. Like we used to go. I can't remember if it was what doors you used. We used to do. I couldn't remember the doors or which ones we used. And it took me ages to remember.
Thank you for inviting me to speak.
Right?
Definitely, that's spot on.
Nice. So during the shift, it's important to mention that the usher and Usher Plus assistant are in different positions. They are working in their own individual positions. But then the Usher Plus assistant is on hand nearby in case the usher that they're supporting needs any backup or support, or if they need to remember something like which door to use in an evacuation.
Hello there. Hopefully you can hear me. My name is Rona Sapsford and I'm the Director of Special Educational Needs and Disabilities at London South East Colleges. What I would like to do today is to just give you a little bit of an overview of what we do to prepare our young people for an independent life and for employment. So at London South East Colleges, we have 2 centres, discrete centres for young people with complex through to moderate learning difficulties and disabilities. And they're called the Night Over Land Centres, which means fly the nest in Latin. We have 160 young people at our Bromley campus and we have 100 at our Bexley campus. Now, we have 2 key pathways for our young people. One is into independent life and one is into employment. Now, we offer personal progression pathways for our young people with severe and complex needs. They have, so at a certain time of year, I'm writing 100 personalised timetables, and all of these timetables and programmes are created from the outcomes that are written in the young people's education and healthcare plans, together with their aspirations and goals in life. So as part of their personal progression pathways, they have a vast plethora of subjects that they can choose from to make up their timetable. Now, you can see here there's several, there's multiple here, but the students choose 8 of those options, and you can see performing arts is actually one of them. And based at our Bexley campus, we have our Walnut Tree Performing Arts, which put on the most fantastic musical theatre performances throughout the year. But that we teach our students English and maths, we teach them employability skills through carpentry, we teach them ICT, we teach them enterprise through business enterprise, we even have our own shop. So we're constantly developing their skills for an independent life and for employment. As I mentioned, we develop English and maths throughout the curriculum. We always do a baseline assessment of their English and maths at the beginning of the year so that we know where they're starting from. And then we differentiate our programs and our lessons so that we can meet those learners' needs in English and maths and in every other area. Some students do accreditation. We do functional skills from entry 1 through to level 1. And those students, we very rarely have failures because they work hard and we know how to support them to gain those qualifications. We also use a variety of software, particularly during lockdown. We had to be quite innovative, and we use Century and IXL software to develop those English and maths skills online. Our other key pathway is into employability, which is what we're very much talking about today. And we have very clear pathways between our programs. Our employability programs start with the Introduction to Work program. They have small numbers and they work from anything between entry level 2 to level 1. And you think, why is a level 1 learner on one of our employability programs? Well, we have students that, although they're academically bright, they sometimes have high anxiety, they lack the social skills, they even lack the independent travel skills. So what our job is to prepare them so that they can progress on to the next level, which is our employment preparation program. And on this program, they develop employability skills, they learn how to go for interviews, they develop skills in areas such as horticulture, catering, and carpentry, and they also, most importantly, start their journey on work experience, undertaking work experience for 1 or 2 days a week in the last 2 terms of their program. From the employment preparation program, we have our supported internship programs, and this is, as Louise was saying, where our outstanding paid outcomes have come from for our learners.
So I think, as Rona was saying, we offer a wide range of pathways which are kind of based on employability. So we have a wide range of vocational taster programs, which go from a variety of group sizes and from level E3 to level 1, and the cohorts tend to kind of be young people with the potential to progress into mainstream vocational areas, and then they'll get awarded from either kind of level E3 or level 1 awards or certificates, and then they'll get their functional skills in English and maths, and then they have options to kind of veer off into specialist vocational areas like health and social care, digital media, catering, and so on. So the vocational taster program just allows employers really to understand that if they were working with a wide range of industries, that there is a kind of an initial taster program they can go into. Following on from that, we get to go into kind of some more embedded programs, which are a bit more in depth and a bit more pre-focused, and maybe sort of have higher levels of support. And these we have a variety of supported internship programs, which have, again, accreditation up to level 1. They continue to have their English and maths embedded, but they tend to then have a employer linked to them, which allows them to have that key work experience that's needed to progress into kind of a sustainable job at the end of it. We have a variety of high needs supported internships, which that's where I was talking about previously, around having we'll have a variety of complex needs, and we'll have a high level of support on those internships, which still allow them to get some sort of course and program awarding, but this one would be non-accredited because dependent on the needs of the learner. But again, where needed, if our employers and our partners will be engaged and supported. And then there's another type of internship listed there around with our Princess Royal University Hospital, again, an employer-driven program this time, which is all based on employer sponsorship, and that might mean that they actually go out to the employer, and if the complex needs are too much, they might come into the college and do employer talks and so on. So that's the pathway 2. These are just some of the other employers that we work with. So as you can see, Odeon, Decathlon, M&S, Waitrose, Homebase, Aramark, big employers that have a lot of opportunity for young people, adults within our local communities, no matter what kind of background they come from, they have that opportunity given to them. Some other wider partners that we work on, and this is kind of key to our local area in Bromley, from kind of the Royal Society of Blind Children, London Borough of Bromley Council, who have a kind of an invested interest in supporting us for a wide range of relationships, from running programs to getting young SEND people and adults into employment at their council roles, King's College Hospital, Bromley Mencap, and the list goes on. So what can you pledge today? What we are going to launch in a minute is a couple of polls. I think it's about 8 polls, which are going to focus on what our attendees can pledge. Don't worry, we're not asking you to go and give us a 10,000 hour work experience placement and 7 jobs. What we're going to ask is for you guys to look at, was the event today kind of informative, and did it help us kind of understand how we can diversify our workforces wherever we are within the creative industries and in the UK. We'll then go on to looking at if you needed more information, kind of where could you get that? If you were to prepared to offer kind of placements and opportunities for young people and adults with SEND, what would you do? Would you do talks? Would you do work experience opportunities? Job opportunities, talks, becoming employee advisory members, those kinds of things. So we can get an understanding of how our attendees and our employers that are on this event can then, what more information you need and what you'd be interested in doing, so we can then take it away as an impact measure, and we can work with colleagues and the ETF and local colleges within your area of how we can kind of go from there. So let's launch those polls, and then Charlotte, I'm going to hand back to you, and let's go into the Q&A section, please.
Wonderful. Thank you, Andrew. So yes, the polls are basically working in the background. Everybody watching will be able to access those in the Q&A section. So if you could all take part in that, that would be fantastic. Now, moving on to the questions, we have had quite a lot of questions that have been sent into us prior to the webinar to get them ready. So let's kick it off with our first one, which is more of a general question. So I think perhaps, Andrew, I can come to you, and then I I can get Becky and Ella's take on it as well. So Andrew, how would I access SEND candidates? Is it through my local college, or are there other organisations I should talk to?
Yeah, so I'll kick this off, and then if colleagues want to jump on, then please just unmute yourselves and jump on. So for me, you know, there's a wide range of looking at what candidates you can access, and that will be from, as you've heard today, from local colleges, who are your kind of key membership organisations, which are working with these young people and developing those skills with those young people and adults to enable us to get them ready for work and get them ready to go out into kind of the brand new world of a new industry or a new place. So I think colleges are a good place to start to kind of speak to those candidates, and then once you kind of understand how that works, then there are other partners like our kind of local job centres and our local authorities that also run provision, and specialist agencies like, as I mentioned earlier, Bromley MenCap, which all have candidates and are all doing work with SEND young people and adults, and they are going to be fantastic candidates for you to start with. Becky, did you want to come in on that at all?
The same really. I obviously mentioned 2 specialist providers in our presentation, but our local college as well, and our local autism specialist school as well, also provide us with work candidates. So yeah, exactly. Viv, is it best for you to go through a training provider to help you get to work? Was that easier than going through the job centre?
I found job centre stressful.
Yeah, the job centre was quite stressful, but working with a college, an education or a training provider was helpful. Yeah, great.
Because I've got more needs. Sometimes when the job centre was awful to me,
Oh, really? So the job centre just weren't able to meet your needs in the same way that a specialist provider would? Yeah.
That's what I like.
Well, it's good to hear that we do have these specialist providers there, so that when the job centre doesn't meet the needs, they can pick it up. Teresa, is there something that you wanted to add?
Thanks, Charlotte. Yes, I was just thinking, depending on where our audience are tuning in from, if they're in other parts of England, we can help put people in touch with local colleges and specialist providers, because, there's great things happening in South East London, and we want to see more of that across the country.
Great, really good to hear. And Rona, fantastic to have you back. Hopefully it was just a fire drill and there wasn't an actual fire. So yes, lovely to have you back. Andrew was able to sort of finish off the presentation, so we were able to hear everything that you wanted to get across. Moving on to our next question, which is there a different approach to interviewing SEND learners? Louise, can I come to you for this one?
You are very welcome to, but I'd really like my colleague Rona to comment on that, because she's got a highly skilled team who lead on this work every day, and I think she'd give some really good practical insights in terms of how our learners are prepared in that way. Rona, can you help me out?
Yeah, very different, and it's different with students with severe and complex needs to those that are joining us straight onto our employability programs. It's very important for us to make it accessible. So for our more complex needs learners, we use objects of reference, we use pictures, photographs, so that they understand what they're, when we're looking at their subjects, what they're choosing. And we also very much engage with parents and carers and ask for their views as well. So yes, it is very different to a normal college interview. It is more accessible.
Wonderful, thank you. I just want to remind everybody watching that we do have the polls going on, which can be accessed through the Q&A section. So if you could participate in that, that would be fantastic. Just a gentle reminder that they are now open and ready for you to begin. Moving on to our next question. What advantages are there to hiring an employee with SEND? Rona, should I come to you for this one? And then if anybody else has something that they want to add from their point of view, pop your hand up and I'll come to you after.
Yeah, we've spoken to our employers, and our employers actually feed our target setting. And the key things that they are looking for are the key things that young people with SEND have. That is reliability, coming in on time, coming in every day, being happy to do some mundane jobs that others may not like to do. Although, not all young people are like that, but they are what we want as an employer: reliability, trustworthy, and punctual. That's all the basics, all the softer skills.
Wonderful. And Becky, I saw you and Viv nodding your heads along to Rona speaking. Is there something else that you wanted to add to that?
You just kept saying, that's me.
I'm reliable. I'm trustworthy. I'm a hard worker as well. And I love my job so much.
What else are you, Viv?
Funny.
No, but
amazing. I'm amazing. I'm amazing.
Viv is a ray of sunshine in our office, and one of the skills that Viv is learning through working with us is to give fewer compliments, because she actually gives so many compliments to every single person that we work with. And she's learning to tone that down a little bit, but it's lovely, and we gain so much from having Viv in our office and cheering us up every day.
Well, she's definitely bringing lots of enthusiasm to this webinar. So thank you so much, Viv. Moving on, how would I advertise SEND opportunities within my organisation? Rona, I feel like I should come to you for this one as well.
You don't need to. Who's advertising? Can I ask that question? Who's asking the question? Is it an employer?
Yes.
Okay. What I would suggest you do is contact your local college, your FE college, and ask to speak to the manager of the SEND department. They would then put you in touch with the person that deals with the employability programs, the supported internships, and they will have a specialist there that can answer all your questions and can put you in touch with the young people who you can then interview, and you go from there. So just get in contact with the SEND department and they will go from there.
Wonderful, thank you. That was very helpful. And where do SEND employees get their support and guidance? Becky, can I come to you for this one?
Yeah, so where do you get your support and guidance? Is it Aisha and Chelsea?
Aisha's left.
I know. So Chelsea. Yeah.
This is amazing as well.
Yeah. So any support that we need for anything that Viv needs as part of your placement here, we get from the specialist provider. They answer all questions that we have, and Viv can go to them for support at any point.
Wonderful. Rona, can I come to you if you want to add anything?
Yes, for the support and guidance for the employer. If you're working with the college, we will provide you with profiles of the learners. We even come in and do training with our employers so that they feel totally comfortable. They know those students that are coming to them, and they know that they've got someone who can support them with any questions relating to special educational needs and disabilities.
Lovely, thank you. This next question will be for Becky and Viv. Unfortunately, Ella, we still haven't been able to get her on to the chat, which is not fantastic, but we will make do with both of you, which is great. And what difference have you noticed in your organisation with the addition of a SEND member to your team?
What do you think is different about our organisation since you started?
It's more happier. I've got sunshine in me every day.
You do bring a bit of sunshine with you every day, and we are a happier organisation because of your input. Yeah, exactly. It's just for us. It's just part of our ethos. All the young people who are part of our programs and activities at Half Moon should feel that they can move on to jobs in the organisation. And I think that for all of the young people that we work with disabilities who are younger than Viv can see Viv in her job and realise
inspiring them.
Yeah, you are inspiring them. Exactly.
So thank you. I'm not sorry.
Is it something that they're going to want to hear?
Yes.
You sure? Okay.
This one person came up to me. He got so busy.
Yeah.
And said I inspired her.
Did he?
And he really touched my heart.
Oh, that's nice. So yeah, I don't know if other people heard that, but one of our participants who has disabilities came up to Viv and said that it was really inspiring to see her in her job. So that's everything we could ask for.
Absolutely. It's definitely everything that you could ask for. So that's really, really nice to hear. Teresa, is there anything that you would like to add to that in terms of any differences that you would predict that organisations would notice with the addition of a SEND member to their team?
I would just say that, when we work and learn alongside each other, we all learn from each other, and that's the greatest thing. And what I would sort of reiterate is there's lots of support out there, for employers, for providers, to bring people together. So if you're thinking about it, do reach out to us.
Great, thank you so much. Now, moving on, are there different or hybrid working patterns that are suited to an employee with SEND? Rona, can I come to you for this one? And then perhaps Becky, if there's anything that you wanted to add.
I would say that depends on the employer. When we are developing our young people to go into employment, we are developing them to have that high skill set. And we don't want them to be set apart and be different from everybody else. So in their work experience, they may not do as many hours, but when they go to work, the employer wants someone that they can rely on along with everybody else. So 9 till 5. So I'm sure it could be, but, ideally we want them to be useful and therefore, work to the hours that everybody else does.
Yeah, absolutely. Becky, is there anything you wanted to add or no?
I completely agree with Rona, but we also, Viv, it's better for you to work some shorter shifts, isn't it? Yeah?
On the minimum time.
Okay, all right. And also we had to make an agreement that your shifts finished a little bit earlier because of going home in the dark, right? Yeah. So it's just making different adaptations for different members of staff depending on what they need. But the same as we would with any employee, really. So yeah.
Exactly. Teresa, I can see you're nodding your head there as well. You would agree. Now, my next question is slightly left field, but I want to sort of get your idea on what you think the biggest misconception is about hiring a SEND member, or perhaps that would be from an employer's point of view. Have you got any thoughts on that? Teresa, can I come to you first, please?
You can. I suppose, it's everybody is individual and everybody has knowledge and skills. So it's starting with the individual. And I think there's sometimes the misconception that that people can be quite limited in what they can do. And that is just a load of nonsense. It really is. There's lots of disabled people doing brilliant things. We've seen Daniel today. We've got a publication called Tomorrow's Leaders that, we can circulate, and that outlines 40 young people that are leading in sports, in entrepreneurship, in advocacy, and they just happen to have a special educational need or disability. That's just one part of their personality and experience. So yes, I think it is. It's sort of seeing the whole person rather than the disability.
Absolutely. And I think when it becomes something which we're all living with side by side and we're all experiencing it, it will become more normal for a lot of people, and they won't have those misconceptions anymore. So the further we move forward with this, the better it is for everybody who lives in our community. I just want to remind everybody who's watching that this is being recorded. So you are able to come back and watch it again, to make notes, to stop and pause the video whenever you'd like. So we will have our recording available on our platform within 24 hours. So you can come back then and just have a little peek tomorrow to make sure that it has been uploaded. I'd just like to thank everybody for taking the time to be here today. It's been a long webinar, so your attendance is really, really lovely. And of course, to all of our speakers today, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedules to be here and for bringing such enthusiasm to today's talk. It's been such a pleasure to listen to all of you talking. Of course, apologies for the slight technical difficulties, the fire alarm, little bits and bobs that went off during this one. But it makes it a little bit more exciting, doesn't it? So yes, that is a wrap on this session. It has flown by, which is testament to all of you. So thank you so much. And we do hope you enjoy the rest of the Unlocking the Potential of Being a SEND Employer. We'll see you very soon. Bye for now.